Okay. Well, hey, 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 and welcome to the first Simple Surprise. I am so excited about this, and I'm so glad that you're here, and I'm sorry that I kind of got you lost out in computer land. So, this is your magical little box, and when you open it up, you will find what looks like a bunch of pieces of paper. It doesn't look like this. My cards are in here too. You did not get the pre-made cards. So let's take out the pre-made cards and leave behind the pieces so that I'm working with what you're working with. They were in order, not like in order of let's do them in this order, but they were in the order of having supplies. I hope I have everything. Nope, there you are. I knew there was one more. So you have enough to make 2 of each of the designs. You should also have 8 envelopes, a sheet of dimensionals, and a spritzer. That it does fit in here, but it made it really tight, so I didn't put it in there. That should have been in a step outside of the envelope. Okay? Now, if you go into the classroom at the Teachable site, you will have the sketches. You can print those out and tuck those inside here if you want to just hold on to them so that you have them. They're not lining up exactly perfect. Some of them are better than others, but I'm getting better at it. This is on the spine of it so that you can stack them in your bookshelf and remember what they are. The 2 stamp sets that I recommended that you use along with them, that I sized things for, are the All Things Thanks and Tabs for Everything. I love, love, love this one. I think there's some really cute, just really helpful sayings that I will use time and time and time again, and they're little. So those are the 2 stamp sets, and then we're also, the colors were Pool Party and Calypso Coral. Adding Old Olive is almost a staple for me. I tend to use Old Olive a lot, but I didn't have that on the list, so you'll make do without it, but I do love Old Olive. And Basic Black. Okay? Just because I have that one all the time anyway. So let's get started and look at the cards and see how we're going to put these guys together. Let's just move these over. So this is the first one. Now, everyone may not have exactly the same pattern paper. I tried to use it the same, but there wasn't enough in each packet to get everybody exactly the same. You will have something from Daisy Delight, but it may not be this exact piece, okay? So for this first one, you should have your card. Is it frozen for everybody? I'm going to turn the camera off. That tends to help. You're okay? Is that better, Cheryl? Kathy, you did make it. Good, good. Is that better? Kathy, will you notice that I had blueberries today? I have washed and washed and washed my hands, and my hands are still stained. Okay, so you're going to start with your A2 size card. You're going to these 2. You should have 2 of these. Different colors maybe, but you should have 2 of them. And you should have 2 of these. I know, Kathy, everybody seemed to. I don't know what happened with that link. I reloaded it a couple times, but I guess it's just tricky. Okay? And then you have a daisy. I have a delinquent daisy that has a bite out of it, but hopefully you don't have any of those. Okay? All right, so first thing you're going to do is put the smaller piece at the top using your snail. And then the bottom piece, I used hair tape, but a snail will work too. You're going to put this down. This one, you're going to make a pocket out of it. So I'm only going to do the two sides and the bottom. I'm going to leave the top open so that my cute little notes can slide down in. Okay. So they're going to look like this when they get the card, but then they're going to pull it up. And I left room so that it says thank you, but you could write a little note here that maybe you don't want to take away from the card, but you want a little note to go with it. An amazing thank you for helping me take the garbage out, or something that's pretty amazing that you wouldn't expect other people to do. Okay, so this is going to be my pocket that's going to go on the bottom. And I'm going to just do the three sides. So the tear tape, I didn't tell you that you had to have it. If you don't have it, you can use snail, don't worry. But tear tape is a stronger adhesive, and that's why I tend to use it for things like this. You should not need to cut the paper. Is this paper cut? It's not cut? You should have, it's not, okay, thank you, Melanie. All right, then yes, you're gonna wanna cut it. Yes, you do need to cut it. Okay, so you're going to need to cut it. The top one is 2.5. So you're going to cut it down at 2.5. I'm sorry, you guys. I promised myself that I would leave it exactly the same as you did, and then I didn't. I ended up with the scraps that didn't work for anything else. So it's 4. You want the top to be 2.5, and then the bottom is what's left over. Okay, so cut it down at 2.5. I promise the next time I will get better at this. I will tell you what happened. And someone ordered it after I had already made them. I didn't take the ordering form off. It wasn't one of you guys that knows that I was done. And I didn't want to tell them, no, they can't have it. So my sample that was yours went to them. Mine that looked just like yours. So I ended up just kind of making do with what I had left for me. And my brain has an attention span of about 1.5 days. So I don't remember now what I gave you. You will have to remind me. And then this will fit where, so you're going to cut it, flip one side so you get the two sides, whatever pattern paper that you have. And this is a pocket. Okay. Now these are really too long. They go all the way up. No, Cheryl, I just put this down with tear tape. I didn't use dimensionals at all. You could use a snail. You could put it with dimensionals if you want, but you want it to be solid across the bottom so these little things don't fall through in case. So you want it to be solid. And now you're going to stamp these before you put them in there or you put them together, because you might have a boo-boo and you can always fix it by flipping it over. So you're going to figure out, and I want you to look at these and see what some of the cool things are. I didn't use, if you have these stamps, these are the ones that were recommended for today. See how these really cute little stamps fit on that circle? So if you take that, and I'm going to use the black on this. Debbie, do you have these too? Okay, then yes, you should have the, I'm so sorry that I'm sounding like such a ninny. You're going to want to cut those into 1 inch. Yep. So that you have enough, you have more than you need. Because I thought you might make a mistake. You only need 2, but I gave you extra. And you're going to trim those down too in length after you write your note. So I'm going to, they're 1 inch wide, Kathy, and you can, so you just cut them into 1 inch strip, and then you can cut the length after you're done with whatever you're going to say. So I'm going to start with this one, and I'm using the black. You could use Old Olive on this if you wanted. And I'm going to put that on my circle. Now, what if I do it and I don't like it? What if it's crooked? You can flip it over and do it on the inside and you'll be okay. If you're wondering what this punch is, this is the label punch. If you're a planner girl, this is great because it makes those really cute little tabs. I know, it's a great punch. So that's all set. Now I get to put what I want in the center. So I use this to say thank you and adorable and those kinds of things. So I'm going to take your Y-O-U apostrophe R-E. And I'm going to put that in the center of the circle. All right. And then I'm going to put adorable. I thought I had another little one. All right, we'll take you off. Then I'm going to take adorable. And if you notice when here, let me show you this again. When I put it down, it came out kind of crooked. If you put it face down and just drop it and then pick it up, you can be sure that it's straight. And then put adorable right there. Isn't it cute? I love all these tiny little words. And then I'm going to put on here why this person is adorable. Or I could just say thank you. But let's say I put love. See, it's got great little words that just work for so many things. So you put love, and I'm going to leave room at the top, and I'm going to put love right here. And then I'm going to write a little note. I don't necessarily want that to show on my card. So I'm going to do it. That's why it's going to tuck down in the pocket. So I don't know how much you're going to write. That's why I left you the 4-inch piece. You may not write that much. And I used snail on this one. And you will see that it sometimes comes up. It doesn't stick as well as you'd like it to, because it's something you're moving around. So a glue dot will work. A fuse will work. You can also use your tear tape again. You could use your liquid adhesive. So lots of different options, but I want a good solid, I want it to stick to it and not come off. So I'm going to use the tear tape on it. And I need it on both sides because it's going to go on the top of this. And I don't necessarily need it in the middle, although I can put one in the middle. But I don't have to. Now it's stuck to my finger. Oh, good, Debbie. I do too. I use it so often. Get off of there. Okay. Goodness. Then you just line up. Make sure you put the adorable on first, or whatever you stamped with, on the front. Flip it over. Now, if you do these in different colors, and then you're ready to tuck this down inside here. And see, that would be too long because I don't want this little secret note to show. So take it on the outside and figure out where you need it to be. I want it to kind of be right where just the adorable is going to show. So that's where I'm going to trim it. I'm just going to take my scissors. And I'm just going to snip that off on the bottom. Now when I tuck that in, oh, I need to snip a little more. There. Okay? Now for the flower. You should have a daisy that doesn't have a snip out of it. Again, in this one, there's a little sun that fits right in the center of the daisy. Thought I lost my ink. And again, now the difference between doing this at home and having it all done for you is that you don't have the option of making another one if you mess up. It isn't really the end of the world if it's off a little, but if it's going to make you crazy, flip it over and try again. And I recommend that you be right above it and look down. Notice my head was in the way, and you'll get a better stamp. Now, you're going to take your bone folder and you're going to flip this over and curl your petals up a little. Don't pull too hard or you rip off the petal. And then a dimensional on the back. And then on your card. Okay? All right, card number 1. Moving on. Card number 2. I cheated and already did this one. The white heart is for thanks for everything. But now if you're not using that and you're using a different one, it's a pretty good size heart. So any other stamp that you have that you want to go on there will go. You don't all necessarily have the same pattern. You have similar, but not the same. And then this goes on top of your pattern heart with your dimensionals. Okay? Then you have this. I am missing the yellow piece. You should have a yellow piece. I don't have a yellow piece. Hold on. Boy, whoever prepared this kit really is going to get fired. I wonder who that will be. This person is not going to get rehired to kit again. It's 2.5. Hold on, we're coming. By 4.25. Oh, I did it backwards. Hold on. Stand by. I'm coming. That's why we have these all done for you. So it doesn't have to be such a pain in the butt. So 2.5 by 5.5 is your yellow piece, and it goes right across like that. I moved it up a little. It could be down, but I kind of like the white line at the bottom a little bit. Now think about what you could do with these before you put them together. You could take this piece and run it through an embossing folder would look pretty cool. You could embossing folder this yellow piece. Always lots of different things that you can do. Just because the card looks like this doesn't mean this is what you have to do. Okay? All right, so this goes down with the snail. And this is the, I put this card together in the first new short and sweets video. I did this one. I'm working on making those less than 2 minutes, or 2 minutes, not less than 2. They'll be 2 minutes long. There's a dog somewhere. Okay, bye. See you. You don't have to listen to the dogs in the 2-minute ones. They go really quick. This one goes here, and this one goes here. Now you're going to do some trimming on this one when you figure out where you want it. I lined mine up because I'm kind of a matchy-matchy kind of person, but you may decide that you want them off a little bit. That's why I left it a little extra length for you. You could do it like that, and that would look cool too. And then your heart goes on top and covers up those. That looks interesting. I like that one. So it's totally up to you how you want to change these up a little. This is how I did it. I put that on and lined you up. And I snipped this off, and then more, and then popped it down right here. And then dimensionals on the back of my heart. Ta-da! Okay, card number 2. Okay, now for me, cards 3 and 4 are messy for me. For Melanie, they're not messy at all. The first one, yep. Oh, and I put pictures of these in the classroom too, so that you can see them. Okay. All right. So here, this is tone on tone. This is card number 3. You'll notice that you got, and I wanted everyone to have the same of everything. Some of these chipboard embellishments, they were really kind of cool. You got 3, but you didn't get enough to do 2 cards the same. So I decided to cut this in half and make this look like it's the same kind of thing, but it's not. We're using a stamp. All right. So this is a piece of watercolor, and we're going to do that first. This is the messy part, Melanie. All right. I want to show you this. Now, I sent you the spritzer, but I did not send you an ink refill. One of these. Some of you have some of these. We've used them in the past. If you don't have one, I'm going to show you 2 different ways that you can do it. This is one idea, and then the one I have on my card is another option. And I'm going to show you both of those. And they entail the spritzer and the watercolor paper. So this one is if you don't have a refill, you're just going to use plain water. You can also use rubbing alcohol. It will dry faster. Since you're using watercolor paper, it's not such a big deal. It will absorb and be okay. But if you want, you can use alcohol in here rather than water. To get this, you're going to take a glass block. And you're going to take your Calypso Coral. See, messy, Melanie. And you're going to spritz this first, your watercolor paper, just a little. Just a light spritz. And let it sit there for a minute. I'm going to take this and blot some ink on it. And then I'm going to spritz it. All right, making a mess. And then I'm going to take this and I'm going to blot it down. And you're going to get kind of an interesting, let the inks run a little. This has to dry. That's why I'm having you do it first. You can go back and pick up more if you want, or you can just leave it like that. All right? I'm going to put this aside and let it dry so I don't end up with it all over everything. And then to clean up your mess, you just wipe it off with a wipe, a baby wipe. If you want to make sure that you've got all the ink off, you could use your scrub thing, your Stampin' Scrub, but it comes right off. All right? Not too bad. This one is a little bit different, and I honestly like it better. I like the look a little bit better. You take the same spritzer, I put about this much water in it, and 5 drops of the Calypso Coral refill. You can use any. Now, I filled this up. If I was just going to make one of these tags, you don't even need that much water. You could put this much water and 1 drop. All right? I don't know if I can do it from up here. You need to be a good, I guess I can. You need to be higher than what you're going to ink. So since I don't have another one, can I flip it over? I can. And you're going to, you can tell I've done this before. You're going to have a nice piece of scrap paper. You're going to lay that down. Now this is the one that has the ink refill in it. And you're going to be above it. Now I'm right here at the camera, so I am from my belly button to my chin, away from it if that narrows it down. And I'm going to just lightly spritz. If I move away from the camera, you can see what it does. See it? That's what, it's like 3 spritzes. And it comes out so cool. And if you want more, you can come back over it again. Love, love, love it. And you can use this with everything. You can put some glitter in it if you want. It'll clog your little spritzer. So what I would suggest is that you spritz it and then sprinkle stuff on while it's still wet. It's really fun for the non-messy girl, okay? But you got to put it aside and let it dry. So we'll do the rest of the card while these dry. You can also use your heat gun if you're in a hurry. And then we have this piece and this piece. In this same stamp set, we have these great horizontal lines. And I took those and my Calypso Coral. And you're on Calypso Coral. I did them this way. You can do them either way you want. And 1 in each corner. If you mess it up, you can try and line it up again. Not the end of the world. Not bad. And again. Okay, so there I have my 4 corners done. And now I'm going to need my ribbon. Oh, cool. Isn't it neat, though? It's really cool. You could use an embossing folder. That would work too, to run the whole thing through. You should have enough ribbon if you just take it in half, take the full ribbon and cut it in half. Half for one card, half for the other. You're going to have enough. Here's another piece of ribbon. Somewhere in my travels, I've lost part of my ribbon. Well, good news is I have a whole bunch over here. But if you don't have a whole bunch, you should have enough. And I use tape for this. You can use washi tape, whatever. You're going to run the ribbon across, flip it over, bring one end back, and I just use my regular old Scotch tape on either end. Now, if it's not quite straight, you can always undo and move it up a little. You can flip it over till you look at it. I eyeball it, I do not measure it. All right. Now I'm ready to add my card, my watercolored thing. It's still not super dry completely. And I used the thanks for that thing you did. And again, the same ink. You could use any color that you want. I went with the same ink color. Some more Calypso Coral. And it gives it kind of an interesting look because it's on watercolor and it's a little damp and it doesn't look quite so, you can see it's still kind of spreading a little. I like that. If you don't like that, make sure it's completely dry before you play with it. And then some dimensionals. This one is the one I did the first time where I pressed it into the block, and I used my black on it because it was a little darker in color. So whatever side you're going to use, whichever one you're going to play with. This is just our watercolor paper. Your cards are the thick Whisper White, your card bases. And you center that down. Then you have an oval corrugated. You're going to cut that in half so you have one for each one of your cards. And another dimensional, because you can never have too much dimension. And that goes on this side. And then I just made sure that I had just a little tiny piece of ribbon left over. You don't have to tie a bow, you're just going to loop it. So it's only about 1.5 inches piece. And a glue dot in the middle. I had glue dots up here. There they are. And a glue dot. And then flip you over and some snail. And you attach to the card and we're good. Apparently this is not the right size piece. Yours will fit. Mine's too big. What happens when you have this ill-packed kit? You put this one on top. Okay. All right. Card number 3. Moving along. Card number 4. I'm going to pick up just a little because I have kind of a mess. This is card number 4. The only thing that I added to this, and if I bring it up close you can see it, is I brought in my aqua painter, which I know some of you may not have. A regular paintbrush will do the same thing. So if you don't have an aqua painter, just any old from the kids' watercolor paint set, any kind of paintbrush will work. Okay? All right. So these are the pieces that you need for this one. You have your card. Let's assume Kira's pieces are the right size this time. Yes, your pool party. This is your watercolor. And then you, continuing on with those corrugated shapes, you have one that's a tag and one that's a heart. So these two cards will not be identical, but they'll be similar. So you should have an oval, a tag, and a heart. And I'm going to take this piece, and I want it to go all the way across the whole card. So I'm going to trim this down to 4 1/4. If you decide that you want your card to go this way, this is long enough to go here. I didn't want to cut it in case you wanted that option, so you could make your card go this way if you wanted. So think about which way you like it. Again, you're going to take your blue twine, you're going to cut that in half. And what you're going to do with this is you're going to start on one end, tuck it back, and add a little tape so it stays there. You can use washi tape or you can use Scotch tape, whichever you like. It's not going to show. All right. And then you're going to wrap it on an angle. So you get to the end. You're going to turn around and go back. All right. If you end up like this is how I end up every time I do it. I have a little bit bigger piece on one end. That's okay because I'm going to go this way with it. And that's where my tag's going to go, so don't worry. When you get to the end, you take that other piece of Scotch tape and you put that down, and you're good. Now we're going to do this one. This one, we're going to do the same idea, only we're going to spritz it with the plain water. Yep, this is the watercolor paper. If you have a big piece of watercolor paper, you need to cut that in half. You're just going to cut it in half to give you the 2 pieces. So you'll have one that looks like this. And you just cut it down the middle, and it gives you the 2 pieces. Isn't it cool? I do like those too. I thought they were neat, Janet. All right, so what I'm going to do is spritz this a little. Not horrible. Just a little bit. Then I'm going to take the thanks for everything. While it's still wet. And if you got carried away and it's a little too wet, you can blot it a little. If you're worried that it's too wet, you can let it dry a little bit. Thanks for everything. Now, I have to think about which way am I going to go with this one. Am I going to go this way or am I going to go this way? I'm going to go this way. I still have to make sure that I have room to put my embellishment across the top. So I'm going to come down low. And notice I'm getting that same kind of smeary, blendy, depending on how wet you have it. You're then going to take your aqua painter, if you have that. If not, a paintbrush will work. And you're going to dip it and ink it all up. And then more messy, you're going to shake it, kind of hit it on there, get a little bit of water. A little more ink. See, messy. Squeeze it a little bit. Okay? As much as you like. Then remember to clean this. You just squeeze it into a paper towel or a baby wipe, and you can get this clean. So you squeeze, if you're using your aqua paint, or if you're using a paintbrush, just rinse it off in the sink till it's clean and you're good to go. Couldn't find my cover. All right, now we're ready to put it all together. You're going to want to wait for this to dry a little so you don't get everything else wet. Or you can grab your heat gun. I used half on each one. Right, Kathy, you're going to cut it in half so you have enough to do both cards. This one, I will say I got a little bit wetter than the first one, the sample one. What's nice about using the heat gun is it flattens it. You can iron it too if you really hate it. And then we're ready to put it together. So bring this out. Now I'm going to go the other way with it this time. And I'm going to put my snail down. And then I'm going to put this down with either tear tape or snail, but I want it to really stick. And because it's kind of been a little warpy because it got wet, sometimes you want a heavier duty adhesive if you're worried that it's not going to stick. And then this goes on with dimensionals. I'm going to go here. And then I have a heart with this one with a dimensional. And there we are, card number 4. Any questions on anything, or what I did, or how we did it, or why? Did you not end up with the right things? There's one. There's 2. Here's 3. And here's 4. How's everybody doing? Now you have this. If you need to do anything, all right. Good, Lori. Good. Aw. I'm really excited about it. I hope it makes it a little bit easier to get a bunch of cards done in a hurry. Oh, good, Kathy. Thank you. Now remember, I tend to forget the envelopes. Okay, Debbie, you did them along with me though? That's really cool. It's spritzy. It takes a little bit of time. But you'll get it done now. Remember the envelopes though. So take some of the ideas of what we did on the card and make sure that you do it back here. So take your envelope and take one of those really cute, and I like the little ones. I think the little ones are great because they just a little something on the back that when they turn it over to open it, it's like, oh, that's really cute. You could even take one of the tabs from here This one wasn't sticking well, but today it'll stick super well. You could take a tab and put that on the back, only stamp it the right way, so that when they look back here, use it like a seal. Lots of different things that you can do with these. And I hope that if you did end up getting the stamp sets, that you use them as much as I'm planning to use this one. The little elephant is adorable. Birthday candles. There's another, I don't know what I did with it. When I was playing, I used the little stars for background too. Then I ended up doing the spritz thing, but you could use the stars if you wanted and make your own background paper. Lots of really cool things in this one set that you don't think is all that useful, but I found lots of things to use it for. And then the thanks one, I've used this one a zillion times as well. And I think it's going to be great for thank you for welcoming our newest arrival, because Lucy is coming. Thank you for being part of our happily ever after. I don't have that yet. I do have one more wedding in our family next summer, so we might be able for that one. Thanks for joining us. And just the plain little thank you is great. So this one I like a lot. Those of you that have already signed up for September, you made me cry because you hadn't even really seen August yet. So thank you for trusting me. September will be fun and different still. I'm going to see if I can squeeze all of this stuff in. I will stay with the 8 cards, but sometimes it gets really tight and I can't get 8 cards in the box, and I want to stay with the box. Please, please, please give me your feedback. If you said, you know, I didn't want that, you could have done without this and add this. Please let me know what you're thinking. Would you rather not have the envelopes and have more cards? Would you rather, I mean, I won't necessarily do it. I might say, yeah, thanks, that's a great idea, but no, I'm going to do it my way. But I love, love, love these. I think these are so handy. And having everything in here means they get to you in one good piece. They don't end up bent or crooked. You know, Linda, I don't know if I put it up there. It is on my site, but I will add it to Facebook tonight so that people can do it. I was feeling a little weird, honestly, putting it out there until you'd actually seen August, because I didn't want you to be disappointed. So now that you've seen August, and if you still want to come, yay. And tonight's recorded. I'm stopping it right now. Thanks for coming to the very first Simple Surprise.